Hey guys, Jet888 here. It is June 22nd. I'm going to give you a quick little brush up on what I've been dealing with for the last probably 75 plus days and actually almost a year. So I live in San Diego County, and within San Diego County in Bonita, there is this little area here named Roar Park. So Chula Vista in San Diego County annexed this park that used to be San Diego County's property. The community was still allowed to use the park facilities. The horses would run around, or I could ride in the arena if I wanted, or they could just play in the water when it rained. And all this helped get my horses conditioned for their endurance riding, and it helped calm them down. It made going out on trail a lot safer and easier and just nicer. But San Diego County started blocking trails, and recently Chula Vista, a smart city, recently contracted and handed over to Sunnyside Saddle Club. They're supposedly a non-profit organization. The 4548 Sweetwater Road is the same address as Roar Park Arena, even though the president of Sunnyside Saddle Club keeps her horse at another facility with all the other members of the Sunnyside Saddle Club. And even though they also turn their horses out at the facility, so it's okay for their horses to be turned out, Sunnyside Saddle Club started posting rules and notices on the facilities or around them. You'll see later today in my video, saying that the public park facilities are a private equine facility. Now this is in a public park, and they do say there's surveillance cameras. They say here no turnouts, which is really an important part of keeping a horse. It's almost like going to a dog park and not being able to take your dog off leash. I mean, it would almost just be ridiculous, right? To keep your dog on a leash when you've got an enclosure. I mean, what's the point? So even though that there's a contract and a license agreement and all that between Chula Vista and Sunnyside Saddle Club, and in the contract it states compliance with controlling laws. It says licensee shall comply with all laws, ordinance, regulations, and policies of the federal, state, and local governments applicable to this agreement. And it also says if there are any conflicts between all these applicable laws and agreements and orders and all that, that it says the most stringent requirements shall control. And again, when talking about compliance with controlling law, it says that the laws of the state of California shall govern and control the terms and conditions of this agreement. And the California Civil Code, down here it says 1668, it says all contracts which have for their object, I'm going to skip a little bit, if they have a violation of law, willful or negligent, are against the policy of the law. So basically, if you have an unlawful contract because inside that contract there's something that doesn't mesh with the California codes, like this, the Public Resource Code, Chapter 2.5, Preservation of Public Parks. It says the chapter shall be known as the Public Park Preservation Act of 1971. 5401 says no city and county, public district, or agency of the state, including any division, department, or agency of the state government or public utility, shall acquire by purchase, exchange, condemnation, or otherwise any real property which property is in use as a public park at the time of such acquisition for the purpose of utilizing such property for any non-park purpose, unless the acquiring entity pays or transfers to the legislative body or the entity operating the park sufficient compensation or land, or both, as required by the provisions of this chapter to enable the operating entity to replace the park land and the facilities thereon. And at the very bottom of this code, it states nothing in this chapter shall be construed to authorize the acquisition of public park property by purchase, exchange, condemnation or otherwise. So just to give a little bit of some of the codes. So this is a California code, and 9.13 in their contract does say the laws of the state of California shall govern and control the terms and conditions of this agreement. So just to let you know, when they started locking the locks of the arena, they were literally breaking their own Chula Vista municipal code, which in here it states, the city is to ensure the public in general and the inhabitants of this community in particular full and equal rights of the use of the enjoyment of said public facilities without regard to the status or condition of the users of the facility. But yet this notice states that membership is required. So there's your status. And it says that it also says you have a right to redress your government, and it also says that you have the right to make full use of public facilities so long as basically you're not infringing on someone else's rights. So the city their interest is in protecting the enjoyment and safety of the public in the use of the facilities. And it also says the city council is authorized to both promulgate reasonable rules. So when they give 24/7 exclusive use, 365 days a year to a private club to lock out a public facility, that is not reasonable. So it's time for the people to speak up, I think. And Sunnyside Saddle Club has tried to say to the city council that they've always had exclusive use, and that's not true, because in this contract in 1990 it was not approved. Their request for exclusive use was not approved. So they have not always had exclusive use, and for the 24 years I've lived here, I've always been able to use it. The gates have never been locked. I've never been blocked from using it. So they're not telling the truth. And the mayor is the one who did not authorize exclusive use. But it seems like our mayor, John McCann, has just recently taken pictures, this is June 13th, with Nora Vargas, who is the San Diego County supervisor, who she just happens to be 2 weeks after I started calling and give her actions a little bit of grief. It's weird because all of a sudden the contracts started getting signed, gates started getting locked, and Nora Vargas, happened to give the club that's locking out the facility $25,000 grant. So she's in the county and she was granting the city of Chula Vista's Sunnyside Saddle Club $25,000. If you want to join Sunnyside Saddle Club, you can always call and talk to them. Okay, so you want to see some hypocritical irony. This Mayor John McCann on this horse here, I have contacted his office so many times. Watch his horse get too much for him. So funny. I have called his office many times and they've never responded, ever. Look, he has to get off the horse because he can't handle it. But anyhow, he uses the horses, but he doesn't allow horses to run and be healthy. What a hypocrite. I just find it's funny that this private club happens to have their address in the Roar Park, who is getting exclusive use, and they're able to keep out the community's horses. It's funny to me how territorial these people are of a public park facility. They literally come by throughout the day and check to see if the locks have been messed with, and I feel like it's almost driving them crazy, but seems like there's some interesting incentive behind them besides them just being able to use their arena, which they only use 8 times a year. So that would literally be locking out the public, 349 days a year or something like that, because they need to have days to groom the facility too. But I just think it's really weird how they actually will come by and check the locks. So even though they've got remote cameras in place, weird. So they literally lock the public out 365 days a year, but they don't even use the facility except for 8 times a year. city council was told by Sunnyside Saddle Club that the horses ruin the footing. They destroy the footing of their precious arena, and that's one reason why we're not allowed turnouts. But anyhow, here are the videos that I just took today because we finally got a little bit of access to the arena. Okay, so free at last, free at last. The arena is open for right now until the tyrants come and lock it up again, violating all the California codes and all the Chula Vista municipal codes. How creepy is it, you guys, that Sunnyside Saddle Club has not only their cameras, but they also have an audio recording. And I bet you their little, let's go look, I bet you their little sign won't say that they have an audio recording in the park. Let's go visit. So the notice way up there, surveillance cameras are in use, but it doesn't say audio, does it? No, sure doesn't. Arena rules, so these are their rules. These are the Sunnyside Saddle Club's rules, because they're not our rules and they're not the park's facility rules, because according to Chula Vista you are allowed to turn a horse out in an enclosure. Anyhow, the tyrants. So it's nice to see the arena open once again for the horses. Like, he's still in shock. He's like Zadik, he's in shock. He doesn't know how to run again. He's forgotten. But he's just ruining the footing. Can you tell how damaging that is to the dirt ground that they have, that they've created for their elevated events, their arenas? Yep, he's tearing up that footing. Shame on the Chula Vista City Council for falling for that lie. That's crazy. Do your due diligence, you guys. Do your due diligence. Here he comes. Come on. There he goes, damaging the arena. Oh, it's terrible. Look at the damage. It's terrible. Terrible that you let a horse run out in an equestrian arena. Here he comes. Come here, baby. Look. What you doing? Oh my God. I mean, if anything, he's taking care of the weeds and stuff. Good boy, baby. Look at the damage. Do not damage the footing. You monster. You monster. Dragon, come here, baby. Come here. Dragon, come here. Come on. We've been given orders. You cannot damage the footing. Do not damage the footing. Do not damage the footing. Do not damage the footing. Go. Go run. Be free, my child. Be free. Be free. So look at this. Oh my God. Look at this. Like, okay, so I'm almost 5'11". Look at this. How high up do you have to be to even notice that? And look at, it looks like they have something, I don't know what's up there. That is so funny. Yeah, we can read that. Totally legible. Totally legible. Isn't that funny? And here's their new shiny lock. Look at that. Oh, that's right, baby. Clean up their mess. Clean up their mess. Baby, unlock it. Unlock the lock, baby. Do not tear up the footing. I've told you. Do not damage the expensive dirt. And I'm hoping too that the intimidations with the tractors as they back into your area, like literally, look how close they are to this poor little boy. Hopefully those kind of intimidation tactics will also stop. And that tractor had zero warning. So let's grow up a little bit, Sunnyside Saddle Club. Whoa. and I look forward to getting back out on trail in a safe, nice environment.